Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called Long Bay. It's 4x6. Painted this last week. Real happy with it. It's a little textured board, and we're going to talk a little bit about texture, talk about some other stuff, and yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy watching this painting come together. So, kind of an interesting orangey color there. Back in the old days, if you go to the earliest bit of the channel, say 2015, 16, mostly 2015, I think is the oldest, but 2016 is a long time ago now too. Hey, yeah, I was working on like mostly burnt sienna toned boards. So burnt siennas are interesting color, but when you layer it in thin, it gets very red, surprisingly red. This is actually just some kind of amalgam color that I painted over the texture. When I do the texture, usually I use black gesso and palette knives and bits of newspaper. That's all covered in my book quite extensively. Really, it was a difficult little chapter to do, but it gives you the full process. And what's very interesting about working on the texture is that it kind of takes over your brushwork to a large degree, but you learn how to integrate your brushwork with it. So I just did a painting yesterday, which, don't worry, I'm not going to go talking about a painting we're not looking at very much, but it was quite strokey. And you can't really do that on the texture. The texture sort of fights that. You have to work sometimes to scrub a little bit to get things pushed into the texture. But when people apprehend the textured boards, they assume it's all brush strokes. Yeah, but what it really is, and actually brush strokes that is part of the texturizing process, as you would find out if you got the book. Also, you don't just have to buy the book. You can type the word texture into my channel search. You'll see there's a video, publicly accessible video, because that's the kind of guy I am. I like you, and I appreciate you coming around. And I want you to prosper in your painting. And you may or may not be a painter. I know we have people come to the channel just to watch beautiful, if I do not say so myself, beautiful paintings come together. And hello and welcome to all of you. Okay, so yeah, this orangey color, it looked really quite beautiful. Now here, the underpainting color was just straight up burnt umber. I thought, well, let's rock it old school and just build everything on a bunch of reds. I kind of wanted this to be a bit brighter, sort of a little more chromatic than some of my things. Obviously, it's, well, maybe not obvious to you, but anyone out here would know that this was designed and developed for a tourist, because they're very into the coast out here, and as they should be. We have some very beautiful beaches. We have these beautiful trees that come right down onto the beach, and people love it. And so maybe some punter will come around and buy this painting, and you know, just do their bit to contribute to my independent wealth. Okay, yeah. It's in the members area, this whole scene. You may or may not know. Members area, there's a link below the video. That's real time, and this is a good one because it's about an hour and a half total. We sped it up here. We're going to be around 13 minutes today in this video. And, you know, try to give it all some value, all some good tips and things. So, you know, the texture, actually, I really think that for someone starting out, the texture, taking the time to work on a textured board might really give you a boost, because it's going to mean the things that you manage to get down that look like they're supposed to, you don't have to wrangle as much with how your strokes are going. You know, they're definitely a factor, and you definitely have to learn how to work on that kind of board. But you can get kind of a pretty attractive result, at least from the standpoint of surface quality. And it was surface quality is something I'm very sensitive to. And not, I tell you though, not like the folks from the 1800s, the pre-impressionists, okay, and also the schools in America that were Hudson River School, and even the tonalists had a I think of people like Martin Heed. I don't know if you know him, but what beautiful texture they had on the surface. And in the case of the Hudson River guys, if you don't know who the Hudson River guys were, they were the American painters that were like going out into the wilderness, mostly in the 1800s, right, throughout the 1800s, and painting the beautiful vistas that presented themselves to them, and of unspoiled wilderness. And the surface quality of their work is amazing. It's like undisturbed. I don't know what's up with it. Anyway, my surface is definitely disturbed, but I try to have some awareness of what that looks like, how it feels. You don't want to get so hung up on that, though, that you are frozen as far as presenting the image that you want to get down on the surface. Yeah. Hey, whoa! Is this my book? Yeah, we got several orders last week, and I appreciate that, and I think you will too, because all these little nuggets I'm passing you. You got to watch a 15-minute video and maybe get 2-3 nuggets. Great thing about the book is all the nuggets have been collected, and they're there for you and at any time, and you can just have it open up in the area where you work. You're welcome to copy some of the paintings in there, or I think what's a better approach is to try and find something similar that you want to paint to something that's maybe in the book, and sort of use that to kind of help you along. Either way, I think it's an invaluable tool for people that think my stuff looks good and that likes this approach to painting, which, come on, you'd have to be crazy not to, right? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's worth it to. In fact, you can. The thing is, I know when I released the texture technique, I really had to work very hard. So here's the main thing you got to watch out for: the texture thing, and you'll see it even in this painting, because I think I had one of my students, in lieu of payment, help me do some board texturizing. And if you look like where my brush was, just there, just below the tree, you're going to see like this kind of vertical, maybe slightly less than a 1/4 inch long lump that doesn't correspond to the things around it. And this is going to be what most people run into when they start laying down texture on their surface. Usually you use gesso. You can use white or black. I like the black because if I'm going to have something peeking out, the surface got scraped or something, I'd rather it be black than white. That's my rationale. Anyway, you can, if you zoom in, especially in the members area, you're 4K, would be able to see it easily. But even here, this is going to be 1080. It's high res. The problem with it, that's just a bit of an example. Like, that's cutting through. It's not that obtrusive, so I certainly didn't worry too much about it. But it took me a long time to develop a type of texture that could go multi-directional, feel organic, and do the job. So that's was very. It took me several different passes. In fact, I believe there may be 2 videos on the channel. My first approach and then my amended approach, because I was pretty excited when I first came. I'll tell you, I mean, lots of people know because I brought it up before, but I was getting new folks here. But what sort of stimulated that was, when you do a bad painting and you don't really want to throw away the board. There was one time where I did do that, and I thought, it was a lot of times I would just do the new painting with the old painting just peeking through everywhere, but that's a bit distracting. So what I thought is like, oh, okay, I think I'll just cover this up with some oil paint. And at that time I was painting on a burnt sienna color, but that wasn't sufficient for covering it. So I used like a burnt umber tone. I mixed burnt sienna with raw umber, which gives you a really quick burnt umber sort of look, and covered the whole surface of that board with the burnt umber, and let it dry. And then I painted a painting on top of it, and I really loved how the disturbed surface of the board from the previous painting. I loved how that informed the painting I was putting on top of it. And I thought, wow, if I was a master, I'd probably maybe just have some student making bad paintings I could paint over. But in lieu of that, so what I do is I just build up these textures, and it takes quite a lot of time. So where I think most people go wrong with the texture, the board process, is they're trying to just do something slapdash and in a hurry. And the problem is that because it's a foundational element, that will inform every aspect of the painting that goes over it. So your slapdash thing is going to basically bite you on the bum, like a great big artistic alligator. So what I I did is I started moving around. Like a lot of times, what I'll do is just I have a big palette knife and I just start smacking gesso down. The problem with just smack and pull up is you get these little peaks, and little peak, and then if you sand those little peaks down, then you get little plateaus. Now you're going to get some of that anyway, but you want to have it broke up in a certain way. So what I would do is just cover the whole board with a knife like that, with a certain level of thickness, okay? And then I would crumple up a bit of newspaper and lay that over the top, which of course when you pull it up will produce some peaks, but I basically do that, and then I use another bit of crumpled paper and a ball to kind of tamp down and tame it, and then let that dry, sand it a little, and I repeat the whole process twice. That is the big secret, so that some of the little weird nooks and things fill in. It just gives you a more complex texture. And then as a final step, I've already got a lot of time into this board. I will get some, I was using burnt umber for a long time, but these days I prefer like an ochre or something like that, or a raw sienna. I have this giant tube of raw sienna I like to use that it's very close to my tube of yellow ochre, so not very good for painting because I already got yellow ochre, but squeeze out some of that, and then I just do kind of a little crosshatchy sort of brush pattern over the texture, which integrates with it. And that gets us on our way. That's the finished board, yeah. And because you can't really paint directly on black, that's not going to work. And you could do the same thing with, of course, you could mix the black and the white together and make a gray. That might be fun to try sometime. I don't know. Either way, I have a pretty good process set up, and it's really neat, kind of for the minis. A little flick here, a little flick there. You get some things that look cool. And it's just another arrow in the quiver. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this little painting, and hey, if you want to buy it, it'll be for sale in my store at a very nice price. The book will be there too, and the book, by the way, includes international shipping. That's like 60 bones, but a good value and a way to support me. I don't make much off it, but I make a little something. A little something's all you need. Anyway, until I come back with another video, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble. And God bless you and your family.